Hello, welcome to Anson Griffin's occasional series and Matlab tutorials. Today I'll be looking at videos and frames and montages. I have the file here published and I have the script here. So just because this takes a while, I'm going to start running the script here. I'm just going to go back here to the published file. So what are we going to be looking at today? We're going to be looking at the information in an audio file, a video file, how to display each video frame as an image, run the frame, like run it as a movie, and then we're going to write all the frames to file. Should be running in the background here, hopefully any second now. So eventually it's come up. Unfortunately, people on YouTube will only be able to see half the montage on the right hand side, but there's nothing I can do about it, but I think you get the general idea. I'll go back to the code, and on the left hand frame here we can see the video is running. So you have the general idea of what we're trying to do, and you can just see down here that we're writing each individual frame to file. I'll go back to the HTML file and we're going to start looking at this in detail. Just one thing to say here, you can see it later on down, there are 332 frames in this, and for some odd reason the last one doesn't read, so we're just going to work on 331 frames for some odd reason. So what are we going to do here? We're going to, where the cursor is at the moment, we're going to read in the movie. We're going to display each frame. We're going to display the movie, and we're going to write each frame to file. So in other words, we're going to write 331 images to file. First command we're going to look at is file info, so multimedia file info, and this is the name of my MPEG file, and we can see here it gives me the file name, the path, the duration, etc. We look at the audio here and it tells me that it's MPEG and that there's two channels, and we look here at the video info here and it gives me the width and the height of all of this. So Reader, now as far as I'm aware, I'm running release 2009 of Matlab. In release 2007b, Reader is inbuilt. 2007a and previous versions do not, to my knowledge, have Reader. So we create the object here, both an object equals Reader, and then we get the object here, and it gives me the settings here. Next thing down here is we're going to read in all the frames. So how do I say vid frames equals read both an object. So we end up with a 4x4 matrix, and so that's it there. Next thing here is we're going to get the number of frames, that's there, and the number of frames is 332, but as I mentioned before, for some odd reason the end of file marker occurs in 332, so from now on you can see where the cursor is here in this for loop. We're going to just do the number of frames minus 1. Okay, so as I said in the intro, don't quite know why. So what we're doing here is we're creating a Matlab movie structure from all the files. C data is the color data for each frame here. Over here, the vid frames, as I mentioned before, is a 4-dimensional data. So how can you have a 4-dimensional data array? Well, it's a 2D array of 2D objects. So what we have here is we have all the rows, all the columns. This colon here will be 1, and K will be the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 328, 329, 330, and 331, and this will get the color map for each frame here. What we're doing here is we're creating a figure. We're setting the figure to a certain position. What figure are we setting it to? We're setting it to 450, 450. So 400 is the bottom left hand corner, so it's 450 pixels in this direction, 450 pixels up, and we're creating a window or a figure the size of 580 by 600. we get the montage here. It looks very small, but I think you can just about make out the differences. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to display the movie. So we're going to create another figure. We're going to create the position of this figure. Where is that? That's 40 pixels in, 350 pixels up. And what will be the width of that? Well, it's the object. It's the width of bolt and object, so bolt and object dot width, and the height of it is bolt and object dot height. If we slow down a little bit here, I've keyed them out. I'm going to play the movie here. Okay, so I just say the command to play this movie. In figure 2, the name of the movie, at the frame rate, etc. Okay, you can look up the commands for more greater detail here. So the next thing here is we're going to do is I've taken some of this work from this online resource here, so you may be able to look it up yourself. And I'm going to write each frame to file. So the number of current frames written is 0. I've set the folder to z:\cert09, etc. Sorry, cert/0910. And I'm going to write from the number of frames to 1 to number of frames minus 1. Again, as I mentioned before, some problem about frame 332. The current frame is movie frame.cdata. So I mentioned before that I've created that array when I read it in, and I'm going to, so it's movie 1.cdata, move 2.cdata, move 3, move 4, move 5. So the current file name is, I'm going to write it here, is you're going to write the file frame, etc. So what's going on here? You're doing it to 4 decimal place. So it'll start at 1 and it'll go up to 9,999. So 4D. So you're routing it to 4 decimal places. And then so frame 1, frame 2, etc. Okay. We're going to use this new command. It's new to me. It's in 2009. It wasn't in 2007B as far as I'm aware, and that's full file. So we're making up the path file here. So I've just taken this here as a little example, but the current folder I've set there, and the current file name I've set here. Okay. So what I'm doing here on this line is I'm writing the current frame, which is what I've got from CData on this line here, and where am I writing it to? I'm writing it to the current folder. Sorry, I've missed one line here. There's the current file name, and I'm putting on a .png extension. And these 3 lines here, I'm just writing, you know, I've written frame 1, I've written frame 2, I've written frame 3, frame 4, etc. Okay, that's about it. Hopefully that's